There is an unbelievable pent-up demand with U.S. retail equity investors to get exposure to crypto.
Breaking news for all crypto holders. The SEC just posted this investor alert on crypto asset securities. They did the same thing leading up to the Bitcoin futures approval. Spot Bitcoin ETF inevitable now.
All of these guys jockeying to be the first, but it's probably going to be all of them at once.
And with an update to BlackRock's application that just happened, the SEC requests BlackRock to add specific language to their ETF filing. Let's highlight exactly what this means for you, as well as 3 altcoins that this benefits after BlackRock ETF approval. So this is what BlackRock just added based on the SEC's request. If a digital asset is determined or asserted to be a security, it is likely to become difficult or impossible for the digital asset to be traded, cleared, or custodied in the United States through the same channels used by non-security digital assets. So they're making very clear the difference between Bitcoin, which is not a security, and altcoins, which later may be deemed securities. For me, this leads me to believe that the SEC is just covering their bases for when businesses in the future apply for ETFs with XYZ altcoins. Any alts that are even within remote question would need to go through heavy financial auditing, etc., to prove to the SEC that they're not a security before an ETF of them is even considered. So which altcoins are the good ones? I mean, even Ethereum is not 100% confirmed to be not a security. I think it's going to go well, but there's still a big unknown in this space. Well, here are the 3 best altcoins that are the most compliant with the SEC, and you won't believe the last one. Of course, this first one, pretty obvious.
There is now clarity. The rule of law in the United States is clear that XRP is not a security.
The SEC versus Ripple lawsuit dropped. This is a major win for the XRP army. In a landmark SEC surrender, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and Executive Chairman Chris Larsen are cleared of all baseless allegations.
Well, 2.5 years ago when the SEC first sued us, we said publicly that this wasn't just an attack on Ripple, it was an attack on the entire crypto industry. And I think we did see that play out with the SEC getting more and more aggressive in really trying to regulate through enforcement, which we clearly don't think is a healthy way to do it. I think this is a huge win, not just for Ripple, but for the whole industry. I think it really is the first time the SEC has lost a crypto case and really puts the SEC, some of the SEC's comments that they make publicly about all of these digital assets being securities, it puts that in check.
So understanding this new language that the SEC requested BlackRock implement into their application, XRP seems to be in a very good spot.
There is now clarity. The rule of law in the United States is clear that XRP is not a security when traded on exchanges, when used for payment. There's a whole bunch of things in the judge's ruling that make it very clear about XRP. The SEC has been clear about Bitcoin also. Now, the unfortunate reality is right now there's clarity for 2, Bitcoin and XRP.
Actually, there appears to be another coin that is in good standing that appears to have been cleared by the SEC. About a year ago, Polkadot announced that they had morphed away from security status. They went in to Gary Gensler and the SEC, registered on their own, and here's a 2-minute audio of the Web3 Foundation, one of the companies behind Polkadot, explaining that transformation.
The first part is Angie giving a setup on the process we went through with the SEC, working closely with US regulators to morph the DOT token from a security to software and what that means.
Really what I'll describe is the 3-year process with the SEC. This was both with the Office of FinHub and the SEC Division of Corporation Finance. This was not with enforcement, which is a totally different division who we never thankfully engaged with. So just taking us back to November of 2019. 6 months before the Polkadot network launch had started. Again, and then it was actually 25 months before the launch was completed in December of 2021. And going back to November of 2019, 3 years ago, the SEC had publicly invited digital asset related companies to, quote, come in and talk to us. And so, that's what we decided to do. The Polkadot team and its developers, really throughout the ecosystem, felt that the tech was so important to the world that they were willing to do whatever it took to be able to deliver Polkadot's native token DOT in compliance with U.S. federal securities laws, along with the laws of any regulator claiming jurisdiction, such as FINMA in Switzerland, the foundation's headquarters. So again, back in this time, we were in the midst of, and this is, November, December 2019, early 2020, we were in the midst of the SEC halting the Telegram network and its native token from being even delivered to the original purchaser. So people had bought the Telegram native token in potentially a private transaction, and then they expected to receive that token when the network was delivered. The SEC halted that. And so we concluded, based on our analysis, that the SEC was likely to view the DOT token itself as a security, at least initially. But the interesting point was that the SEC had also published guidance concerning how a token that was initially sold as a security, potentially, under Reg D or Reg S, et cetera, an exemption, could morph and no longer be a security later. So even though it would be delivered to the initial purchasers as a security, it can then, after that point, morph.
Be sure to like the video to support me. And of course, this third one, working with Swift. Swift details findings in tests of Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability.
The Chainlink just announced a new partnership with interbank payment processor Swift.
Basically, we're working together with Swift, DTCC, Euroclear, and some of the world's largest banks like Citi, BNP Paribas, and large custodians like BNY Mellon to see how blockchains can be used within their largest categories of transactions.
So to be clear, they have not been cleared by the SEC yet, but Swift is almost just as powerful. They're in bed with the SEC and the global regulators. And here's a 60-second clip of how Chainlink allows these old systems, the old way, the banks, to connect with this new way of transferring money, blockchain.
So how do you connect your 40, 50, 30-year-old systems to blockchains without having to reinvent everything, which is not an attractive process. And frankly, after working with more of these banks and asset managers, if I had $100 billion sitting on some system and switching that over was a risk and no user asked me and there was no user benefit and there was no efficiency benefit, I would question it too, right? So it's kind of like a question of why am I switching off this, okay, it's a 30-year technology, but I can kind of wrap around it and it can still work. And that's what banks have done for decades. They have some old technology that gets wrapped with like XML or SOAP or something, and then APIs wrap that, and then now we wrap that, basically. This is something I think we're well on the way to doing through our ability to collaborate and through the Chainlink network's security and the ease of use for existing systems. This is a principled design decision that I think the people building the Chainlink network have made to say, we want to be able to integrate with existing infrastructure. We don't want to replace it. We want to integrate.
Also, anybody that's going to be in Vegas next week, feel free to join us at Influencer Fight Club. These people will be fighting each other / other people. It's going to be wild. I'll be there just attending. But there is a link down below if you want 10% off. Come chill with us. Come hang with us in Vegas next week. And last chance to vote for us for the Web3 Influence Awards. Link down below. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow.